welcome to Cybertopia. This is our first ever video session, I guess you'd call it that. We're playing my new game, DNA, Data, Nerves and Acquisition, which is a faction and city building kind of game based on the Big Feather and Bone SRD. Wonderful game, you should definitely check that one out. We're going to jump right into things because we got a lot to get through tonight. So we're going to start off with Chris, who played as Smart Coolman in Season 1. Chris, why don't you tell us a bit about your faction that you have created?
So I'll be playing as the Citizen Safety Patrol. They are cops in all but name. They might have power as prescribed to them by law, but Amazing Core certainly hasn't given them anything, so they're kind of struggling along in the background there.
Cool. So we're going to jump into it and just get going. So, Chris, why don't you draw us a card and show us what you got?
Okay, so I have a 10 of spades, which is an image card.
Yeah, media or PR purpose, and 10 is a high number, so that's a pretty significant structure. So pick a building somewhere in the city and stick down your media or PR or image kind of building.
Okay, I'm going to go for one of these buildings in the middle. I'm imagining this as a big tower of billboards, of messages, of the rules that people should be following. Oh, look, somebody's got a big sale on at this time. Kind of very community focused, but also just in the background reporting on like various things that people should and should not be doing.
The big PSA billboard in the middle of the city that everyone just can't ignore.
Exactly, yes. So right in the middle there. So to go through the various things, so we've described the place. So it's a Tower of News. We'll give it a proper name at some point. I think most people they'll see it and they'll be aware of it, but I imagine most people don't particularly think too highly of it. It definitely feels like a community building rather than an Amazing Core building. So it's not as trustworthy, shall we say.
Right.
It's definitely... Moving on to nerves, its connections. It's not really of historic or industrial significance. It's very much a new building.
I suppose this is like a community group, right? So it would be community owned?
Yeah, community owned. I think maybe some of the people who like financially back the group, which I'm guessing is sort of like old remnants of government. So it could be an old government building which has been repurposed to allow the building of a big tower and telly screens all over it.
Yeah, and that makes sense. It's right in the middle of the city, so it's probably quite an old one that's been around a long time, like maybe before like Amazing Corp really became like their big power that they are now. I like that.
Yes, and the acquisition, I think we've covered that as well.
Yeah.
It's part of the faction's territory just by the nature of it's some of the old remnants of pre-Amazing Core life. Owned by the Citizen Safety Patrol. It's not a secretive cover at all. I don't think any of the buildings I'm going to put down are secretive in any way, shape or form because we are somehow the good cops.
Well,
I know it's
weird.
weird.
They want people to know that they're there. Doing the good thing. Yeah,
yes.
Cool. Okay, nice one for our first building. Okay, on to Valery. Valery played as Frankie Collard in Cybertopia Season 1, and why don't you tell us about your faction?
Yeah, so I've created a faction called the Matchmakers. They don't make matches, they fix matches, as in sporting events and other things you might bet on.
Not pyromaniacs.
Indeed, not pyromaniacs. They just absolutely aim to fix the results of any kind of sporting event or, I don't know, talent show, contest. Anything you might gamble on, they will run the book on it and they will fix the result. So,
hey, somebody's got to do it, right?
Yeah, they like use all the kind of latest technology or sometimes even more advanced than that. So kind of exotic or experimental stuff that
they got every angle, right?
Yeah,
cool.
Just to make sure that they get the result that gives them the maximum profit from whatever they're doing. Either they've been hired by someone or they are running the book and they know the result already. So yes, that's what they do.
Sounds great. All right, why don't you flip a card and we'll see what we got. 5 of Hearts.
That's interesting because that's like a social one, isn't it?
Yeah, social or community purpose.
Yes, so...
And that's kind of a mid-range sort of card. Aces are low in this system, so yeah.
Sort of feels like that might be kind of the more of the public face, like where they take the bets rather than any of the kind of more criminal side.
Would it be like a betting part of a bar or just like a shop?
Yes, I'm just looking around for where it might be an area that would have that sort of thing. Let's make it that one then.
Okay, kind of out a little bit more into the suburbs.
Yeah.
So the data is, what is this place? How would you describe it? What's it used for?
It's a good old-fashioned betting parlor, basically.
Cool.
So that's what they use it for. Nerves. So that's
What is it connected to?
how is it connected to? It's going to be connected to the more legitimate kind of banking system, I guess, as much as betting can be.
I suppose this is kind of a front building, right? Like this is, like you said, the
Yeah.
legitimate side of their business.
Yeah. So
So it's just where they find customers, where people come in and that sort of thing.
yeah, connected to legit banking system and acquisition.
How did they come to own this?
I think this is probably where they started from.
Yeah.
Maybe they started out as a legitimate betting company.
Little place in the suburbs, maybe franchised out and made
Yeah,
into little other
And
connections
then
around
they
the city.
very quickly branched out into, hey, we could make more money from this
Hmm.
if we did something else. So yeah,
Cool.
I think that makes sense.
That's grand.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we have D, who played Toby in Cybertopia Season 1. D, why don't you tell us a bit about your faction?
Yeah, so I'm going to be playing HexaComm, a company that has a outward appearance of a communications tech company, basically selling phones, tablets, and similar things, primarily at industrial grade, but also catering to the smaller household, who in secret are organizing for themselves a vast neural network of legally and or illegally placed microchips into knowing and or unknowing individuals, which create a sub-communications network that is used to deliver clandestine missives and information.
They're spywaring the world.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, cool. Flip a card and let's see what you got.
Already, it's a 5 of diamonds.
5 of diamonds. So diamonds are a financial or commodities purpose.
Yep. Yeah, I think this is basically just going to be a small store.
It's another one of these factions that has like a legitimate front, right? Like
Yeah, absolutely.
they do sell like actual technology.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is just going to be like a little store that basically sells their kind of like tech, just their phones and tablets and stuff like that. Just your regular phone and the like equipment store.
I like how we're all starting out with these relatively mundane properties. I wonder if this is going to go the same sort of route as all of the episodes where like the first half is pretty chill and then the second half proper hits the fan and everything goes wild.
Well, of course.
As all the real estate starts getting used up, you're going to start clashing. Okay, so what is this connected to for the nerves? I mean, it is legit, but like in the back rooms, are they doing stuff? I suppose it's connected to them like proliferating their spyware.
I don't think they're doing anything overt in this store particularly, other than vetting individuals whom they will do things to in other places.
Oh yeah.
I think they just like look at people who come into the store and kind of like try to decide whether these people are good or bad candidates for their purposes.
Oh, I see. Public profiling.
Yep.
Gotcha. And acquisition, I suppose, another legitimate building, so actually owned by them?
Yeah, definitely owned by HexaComm.
And I suppose probably also like just has full branding, HexaComm style. And
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Just like a completely unobtrusive and not at all ominous beehive, yellow and black, not at all hinting at a hive mind or anything like that.
How could anyone that
Don't be
tries so
ridiculous.
hard not to hide themselves be up to no good?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they're very open and honest.
Yeah, the Honey OS 2.0 is just the bee's knees.
Their slogan is something completely innocuous, like "Do no evil." Out of nowhere. Cool. Okay. Great. So moving on. Next up, we have Jen, who played as Maurice in Cybertopia Season 1. Jen, why don't you tell us a bit about your group?
Yeah. I will be playing the Autonomous Rights Collaborative. Jobs are for humans, and the only way to ensure that humans have a level playing field with robots and machines and AI is to make sure that those robots, machines, and AI have the same pay and employment rights as humans. Because let's face it, the bottom line is the only way we are going to claw back any sort of market share.
I mean, join the robots. They can be your allies in the fight against the man.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Why don't we flip a card and see what you get?
Go for it. That's a 4 of spades.
Okay, so spades is media or PR purpose.
PR. Then think for media PR, we're gonna go with a kind of like a digital leafleting headquarters. That's our word for pop-up ad, but because we call it that, it circumvents some sort of like law, letting us get away with it. I think this is it's quite a small little 4, isn't it? So we'll go sort of just a little.
So it's almost like a digital printing press for your propaganda, sort of like.
Yeah, essentially. I'm liking the idea of just a little, like a pop-up leafleting campaign headquarters.
It'd be like those little newsstands you get in New York streets and films and stuff, right?
Absolutely. What are we going to call? I'm not sure. I'll have a think about the name. But yes, this is where we send out pop-up ads under the guise of they are technically political advertisements, so we're allowed. No one can shut us down.
You can't stymie political debate in Cybertopia.
Exactly. I mean, they have to like give the veneer of allowing it so as to, because if Amazing Core was like, hey, no one's allowed to even try, right?
It's
They
the old
wouldn't
Matrix
look
thing, right? It's the illusion of freedom.
Exactly, yeah, because this way they can go, look, we defeated the little man easily.
It's like it's legal as long as it has no effect whatsoever.
Exactly, yeah.
Basically.
If we start being good at this, oh dear. But, you know, hopefully we won't have to worry about the Citizen Safety Patrol coming down. Because technically it's legal.
Okay, so that's, I think, plenty to go by on the data side. The nerves, what is it connected to?
The nerves. Well, we are connected to everyone around here. Everything. All our robotic workers coming together to ensure that we have better rights. And it's not just robots, you know, it's well-meaning citizens and cyborgs, people like Maurice, and humans who've been pushed out of jobs. We're sort of connecting the little man on the street together with sort of their toaster, I guess.
And I like that it's quite a central location there, because this is probably a good like thoroughfare for people going to and from their work.
Oh yeah, we've got people stood outside shaking little pots. That's part of it. That's part of all of it, really. You can't...
Easy dissemination of the information,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with little clipboards with a petition for people to put a digital signature on or something.
Absolutely. We just
Nice.
we can count on your support.
And so in terms of acquisition, it sounds like a, like you say, pop-up shop kind of situation here. So they're not necessarily there legally, just like they appear.
I think we just rent here. We're not doing anything legally wrong, so we're playing it by the book here, I think.
Yeah, you've read the fine print. You're not doing anything wrong. No one can shut you down.
This place is licensed for disseminating propaganda. Disseminating political literature, and then the Wi-Fi is all right. So
The Wi-Fi's all right. Nice.
Okay, cool.
that's where we're at.
All right, so our last player for tonight is Mark, who played Sir Ingram of Flash Knuckle in Cybertopia Season 1. Mark, why don't you tell us a bit about your faction?
Well, you know, I chose to go with the T faction. I mean, how couldn't I?
Yeah, I mean, it's natural.
Yeah, it's just natural. So I'll be playing T for every and all, so also known as TAE. Which is a faction that is rather overt, low aggression, but rather criminal and focused on changing people's minds, influencing people with a good, gentlemanly conversation with tea.
It's
and
a tea
maybe
That's what it is.
it's a
right?
tea call. Yeah.
I like to imagine that this is after the finale of Season 1. The ACM were somewhat decimated. All that was left behind was the people who really loved the tea.
Probably, yes. I mean, that's a good origin story. I mean, come on. Their whole stick is tea influencing people with tea and having a lot of psychological collateral.
Cool. Okay, let's flip a card and see what the kettle pours us.
A tea for 2.
Okay, nice gentle wonder. Social or community purpose?
Well, I mean, look, social or community, we have tea. I mean, how could it be anything else than like a dockside, like tea house or tea cafe? Like just a little quaint little establishment right by the harbor.
Oh, nice. A little tea house.
Yeah. Not too big because, you know, it's a 2, so probably will be very small. Just, you know, that little place, pub that the locals know about, you know, but maybe the more influential figures aren't totally aware of, you know, its
and,
existence.
like in the harbour, it's maybe quite a nice location, and this is where people will go on their like evening walks and will maybe pass by and see, oh, tea shop.
Indeed. Let's put it right there.
Nice. Okay, so what are the nerves of the tea shop? What's it connected
Right.
to?
So let's take a look. You know what? Let's get the tea shop a name first.
Okay.
So let's call it the Soaked Leaf.
It's a good name for a tea shop.
Little tea shop at the harbor. So the nerves. What is it connected to? Well, it is at the harbor. Those exotic kinds of tea. Maybe like the kinds of tea that have a little bit more of an influence than people realize. They have to be imported somehow. And what's a better way to do it by boat? Somebody has to manage the cargoes, maybe do a little test run from the teas that are like wheeled in.
Yeah,
So,
maybe you can get some little smuggling operation in to get the more illicit leaves.
Indeed.
And of course, at the harbour, you're getting your mega yachts coming in. They're going to need somewhere to drink, right?
Indeed. So, maybe a little bit of peculiar tea with like nice, good, influential figure, just to tweak them a little bit towards the tea side,
Nice, I like it. And acquisition, how did they get this building?
I would say that this isn't a tea front. I mean, they wouldn't be operating like that out in the open. You know what?
Is this a tea speakeasy?
Maybe. And that we talked about the Roy boss. So maybe like an old guy, like a big red beard, like hosts the shop, and his like secret name is the Roy boss, because Roy in South African / Dutch means red. So big guy with a red beard that is secretly in charge of like the thing.
Yeah. Say the password and we'll hand you your leaves over the counter sort of thing.
Indeed.
Dispensing the infamous oolong tea.
Indeed.
Awesome. Okay. We are back up to the top with Chris and the Citizen Safety Patrol.
Okay, so I have pulled a 7 of diamonds, a financial or commodities purpose. Okay, let's see where would be a nice place. Pick a random neighborhood.
You're already getting some quite nice numbers.
I am doing pretty alright on there. It seems pretty big, so let's go for a building over there.
Okay. So what would the CSP be doing financially?
Financial or commodities purpose. I would think they have a big warehouse that people can bring illicit tech that they are being very good citizens to drop off and have it disposed of safely and securely. And they actually would do that. They would be true to their word. If somebody finds an illegal drone unit, they would actually go ahead and try and deal with that. So I'm going for the kind of like commodities point of view on that one.
Hey, we found all this HexaComm stuff that does weird shit. We would probably put that away somewhere. Like.
Yes. Okay. I'm trying to think of a good name for it. But
The idea of you having like a tech amnesty and HexaComm coming in with 4 dump trucks of shit that doesn't work anymore.
I mean, no, I imagine what happens more likely is 4 like trucks worth of mysterious like disappearances happens overnight, but I don't know where it all went. It's definitely high tech amnesty. So I think people will. It feels very government and techy, just refer to things by acronyms. So it's the HTA.
Run by the CSP.
Yes, exactly. Again, a lot of people probably have a better opinion of this one, right? Because the average Joe doesn't really want to be involved with a lot of the crime-related stuff. Like, I want to be no part of that. So I imagine a lot of people think, actually, this is the one thing that the CSP do that's pretty good. Yeah. So it's got a good reputation in the city.
I think it would have to, because otherwise people would just be thinking, oh, they're using this stuff. They're gathering this stuff that we're giving them and using it for their own deeds. But if they're like got such a good reputation, that's the only way that people would trust them to like take this stuff off their hands.
Yeah, like it's an old disused warehouse, and people actually see it's very much just Terminator 2 end of the film. Spoilers if you haven't seen this from the early 90s. But it's just huge open vats of molten metal, but they're just dropping stuff in for like the really dangerous stuff, but other stuff that will take apart. And you actually see a lot of workers meticulously taking apart and trying to recover like important processors and rare metals and stuff like that. So they're very open about what it is that they're doing.
How like community level do they go? Like, do you have people like out front like checking Halloween candy for cereal ports? Like their mothers walking around being like, "Oh, HTs, they're keeping dangerous storage media off our streets. They are keep kids safe."
I think they must have a good like outreach program because how else are people going to know of its existence and that? But yeah, that is absolutely everything. I love those memes. Yeah, that is that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they must get robbed on a pretty regular basis, but they don't admit it.
I don't know if I'm going by the stats that I've got for the group. They've got a pretty high overtness and high technology, so I think they're pretty well defended.
Okay, fair
And
enough.
they are very
Yeah.
capable. They're not very aggressive, but they do have a good collateral damage number.
They
So
know what they're doing. So.
yeah, woe betide anyone that
So,
crosses
okay,
them.
there's a lot of attempts then.
Yeah,
That don't stop us trying. If you're going to melt down that modem, you need to check that it's got a next of kin first.
And so I guess in terms of the nerves, it's connected to just, well, I suppose the community, like this is where people bring stuff to them. And I suppose they could be connected to any faction or group that wants to get rid of some stuff in a kind of legal manner.
Yeah, like it's an amnesty program, so they don't know of the existence of, say, a lot of these groups that are like hidden in the background. But if these groups are willing to like get rid of stuff they shouldn't have, the CSP are more than happy to do that. They will advocate anyone to come down and get rid of their dirty deeds. In terms of the building, I think old industrial is what I would
said,
go
like
for.
Disused warehouse sort of situation, right?
Yes, disused warehouse. And acquisition, I think this might be one that they occupy, but from an understanding of like squatters' rights and that kind of thing. Like the company that owned this building like went under decades ago and no one's really bothered. And then they've still got enough connections with old government, old community leaders that there's like, yeah, no one is amazing's not going to bother with this building because it's not something they can knock down easily. And
maybe it was some sort of chemical plant or something, and nobody wanted to have to deal with that, and that's why they've got the big vats that you can melt stuff down in and whatnot.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time and effort making it as safe as it can be, but using what is still unsafe to do what others might consider an unsavory task.
It sounds like you've built up enough community goodwill around this building that the blowback of trying to shut you down, even if like legally they could, is just not worth the hassle.
Yeah, Amazing knows good PR when they see it. They might they might use it themselves, right? Like they've got old stuff they want to get rid of, so let's take it to the HTA.
Yeah, I feel like some of the stuff we recovered as tabula rasa probably ended up there eventually.
That's where they take stuff that they don't want people to ask questions about, and the CSP just kind of turn a blind eye. Cool. Okay, so moving on to Valery with the Matchmakers. Have your next card.
What do we got? That is Four of Hearts.
Is a community purpose.
More community, yeah, and it's sort of a little bit less important than the betting shop. What would they be doing on a community level? I mean, I'm kind of thinking that this might be a little bit more of like the underground community, this like the secretive criminal side of things. That community, this might be
like a loan shark office.
Well, I mean, they're involved in sports and stuff, right? So maybe this could be involved with like underground boxing or something like that.
Yeah, that is absolutely perfect, I think. Although, let's make it sort of esports instead. Esports, but E-blood sports.
They have access to the ancient Wii's before they did away with the blood and the graphic violence, you know.
Yeah.
E-bowling with lots of gut.
I was going to say e-cockfighting, but that's just Twitter.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So I feel like it's not very important, but it kind of needs to be a slightly bigger space to fit the fights in.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm going to go over here.
If you're going community, how about you training the youth in blood
training?
sports?
Yeah.
And the reason y'all are training them is because this way you've got eyes on everyone who's coming up in the scene, so you'll be more easily able to set odds and fit based on your knowledge. It's like a scouting pool.
Seed the ideas early on. Yeah, I get you.
Scouting who comes up with Mortal Kombat 3 Katana Endless Combo.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we kind of got the data and the nerves already there. It's connected to the youth and the kind of underground esports community.
Yeah.
What kind of building is this? Is it like some sort of like basement? Is it literally underground?
I was thinking, we decided it was like E-Blood Sports. So I'm sort of picturing an abandoned office
Okay.
block.
Are people coming in, they're sitting in the chairs, they're getting the full haptic feedback shit on?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it. And acquisition, I mean, they absolutely do not own this legit. I feel like it's very much set up that they can move out if they have to very quickly, if somebody starts paying attention, but they're just using an empty office block.
The office block's got a T1 line, so you needed it. you know.
Yeah. It's like the servers are all self-contained. There's no connection outside at all, so they're staying undercover on this one.
I mean, a lot of office blocks are going to be empty. First, people work from home, and then the robots didn't really need office space. So, yeah, a lot of empty offices around.
Oh, typical human thinking that robots don't need office community. We'll send you some documentation.
Awesome. Okay, so next up, we're background to D with HexaComm.
Yeah. Let's see.
Another 5. We've had lots of 5s.
5. I mean, we're bound to run out soon. That is a media or PR purpose. Okay. A media or PR purpose. I think that's just going to be kind of just a base of operations for all of the ads and everything that they're running for all of their marketing campaigns. Just where they square up all of the people who serve their entirely legal and non-nefarious purposes. And we're gonna put it...
Legitimate tech organization, bringing tech to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally safe. So this is like where they run their kind of back office kind of...
Yeah, this is kind of like the place where they do the whole... This is where you get like the board meeting of people who are deciding what goes onto the air and being presented.
I suppose if you've got all of this kind of Bioware type stuff going into devices and people and stuff, like this would be where they're thinking of what signals to send people, what subliminal messaging to insert into this device's behavior and stuff like that.
Shh, we don't talk about it. Let's see. Yeah, definitely. The data is definitely going to look like a marketing headquarters. The nerves is what is it connected to? Who passes through this? Definitely this is going to be one of the kind of primary places where interested individuals can deliver their messages that are to be delivered secretly somewhere else.
Would you have maybe other factions coming in here and being like, hey,
I think
we
so,
want to hijack your signal for a bit?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think so. I think HexaComm would actually probably also work together with Amazing Core just so as not to raise suspicions towards their ultimate goals.
Okay, yeah, I get you.
But yeah, definitely other factions would totally come in just whenever they need something to be entirely secretly transmitted.
Okay. Cool. Man, they're connected to a lot. And I suppose in terms of acquisition, if this is going to be quite a public building, probably another legitimately owned one?
I think a good portion of the building is legitimately owned, and then the clandestine stuff happens in a place that does not appear in the books. So probably like a secret level or something.
Oh, maybe this is a Amazing Core building, and that's where that kind of collaboration work comes from with them, but you're still doing stuff secretly.
Yeah. Rented offices in an Amazing Core building with additional offices.
They've done significant custom renovations.
Yeah, definitely. With off the books space for things Daddy Core doesn't know.
Cool.
And yeah, I think they definitely, it's kind of probably a very weird experience for a lot of people who are trying to work against Amazing Core to enter the building, but then they kind of like get conducted to a place where things happen.
Yeah, and I imagine people who come in and get scanned and stuff for bugs and whatnot. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
We don't want any recording devices coming into this area.
Yeah. No one gets to record other than HexaComm.
No journalism.
No journalism.
Okay, cool. Jen, with the Autonomous Rights Collaborative.
Let's see what we get. Come on, hearts. Everyone else is drawing hearts. Hey, it's a 3 of hearts. I'll take it. All right, I got an idea for this one. 3 of hearts. Some rights groups open, like communal seed banks, grow food together and things like that. We have opened a communal lead bank to ensure that no appliance, robot, or machine is without proper connection and community. That's our plan.
Connectivity for all.
They literally hook up with one another.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, so I think it's quite a small number. We don't have a lot of space, do we? But let's say on the outskirts of town where, real estate's a little bit cheaper, we can get a slightly bigger piece of land. We're over here, I would
Yeah,
say.
because maybe you want some like storage space for all of the
Yeah,
kit and whatnot. So
we need some space for people to sit as well and sort of vibe.
and maybe get
maybe
away from the hustle and
recharge.
bustle of the city centre.
Yeah, exactly. This is a place where you can come and be safe and no one will question why you've got a zip drive, It's okay to have a zip drive here. It's allowed,
Just refresh, reboot, power down for a bit, like
Yeah, and meet your local appliances.
this toaster's burnt out, man.
Excellent. Yeah, so we're connected again to the community, I would say.
Mhm.
There might be, I'm trying to think if any of the other factions would be connected. Not certain. We might occasionally get some stuff from the HTA.
Maybe you get some HexaComm devices
Yeah.
come into here as well. Like
Yeah, that's a good point. Probably get some HexaComm devices. We maybe source some materials from the HTA if they're up for it. Safe materials. Like
not everything needs to be melted down. Come on.
Yeah, like grandma's found a kettle cable and
Yeah.
flipped out because she thinks it's dangerous. Like, you send that along to us, we'll look after. Because with the CSP, we keep these rough androids off the street. So that's how
Microwave with PTSD.
Exactly. Beep TSD. There's a good one in
PTSD.
there somewhere.
The dinging just doesn't stop.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't stop.
Sorry,
And then one
microwave
time someone put a
definitive.
metal spoon in there. Oh my god.
Oh, every day, man. A hungry man for one. Every day. I'll never get the taste of curry out of me, man.
When they finally made toasters able to have utensils jammed into them safely, they just
Yeah.
didn't stop.
Yeah. That's I'd be careful with that phrasing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've been forked more times than nope.
Yeah.
Oh no! What have I done?
Coffee. They warmed up coffee in me.
I will think again on the name. That the previous location is the Advertisement Relations Centre.
Okay.
This one we'll think on, but colloquially it's the lead bank.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the data, we got the nerves. Acquisition. How did they come into this?
We're squatting here.
Fair.
Yeah, we're squatting. We know our rights. Like, okay, so City say we're squatting, okay, but really, right, it's not our fault. We're not really squatting because the old owner died, right, and didn't have an next of kin, but like it's an old mechanics shop, okay, and the arc welder is still here, still lives here. They can't kick him out, right, but the city thinks that no one owns it. We're determined that the
Oh,
arc
you're doing a service, yeah.
Well, no, the arc welder owns it, as far as we're concerned. The city say we're squatting, but the arc welder lets us use this space. He's a lovely chap. We've known each other for years, but eventually we'll get the city to recognise that the title is his. The old, but what are you going to do?
And like, he's got this
Bureaucracy.
space. Maybe he's got a bit of junkyard out the back and whatnot. Like,
Yeah, we've got a lot of space. Lot of space to
help
move
the
around.
bots get like spare parts and whatnot. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, nice, cool. Okay, we are back around to Mark with tea.
All right. Okay, let's see. What's brewing this time? Oh!
Ooh.
Oh boy.
So this is a high value media or PR purpose.
Oh dear. Oh boy. PR media.
This has got to be like tea propaganda or something, right?
Yeah, it has to be. But like intense. But still probably it can't be too overt. So I would say this would be like the main tea headquarters.
Okay.
Like where the media, the tea is packaged, like all the commercials and branding is done, etc.
Can I pitch something?
Yeah,
How
sure.
about it's like a film studio or something that they've taken over and they're just subtly doing product placement of tea in like every scene? And whereas people used to go through these scenes having a cup of coffee, everyone now has a cup of tea.
Film studio with like subliminal messaging like everywhere. Yeah. And they take existing commercials and subtly insert their version into it.
Oh yeah.
So people don't notice that everything is now tea.
All of the cigarettes in all of the ads have been replaced with cups of tea.
Oh, yes.
And they'll totally be working with HexaComm on this, right? Like going through their ads to make sure, we just need some more tea exposition on this.
Tea HexaComm collaboration.
Yeah.
I would say like that would be a decently sized building.
I
Probably.
mean, hey, you need honey in your tea.
How about this here? So that would be like a big studio warehouse kind of deal.
Yeah, it's the film lot.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
like
yeah,
that it's just kind of around the corner from that HexaComm marketing HQ as well.
Yeah.
Easy access. Nice.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know, when you need the chipped individuals to just have that little bit of extra susceptibility to subliminal messaging.
Hell yeah. So indeed, like subliminal messaging, and also for their bigger purpose of influencing people away from Amazing Core.
Yeah.
Just that tiny little shift using tea. Right, so there would also be a little bit of nerves, I guess, like their connection to HexaComm.
Yeah, and I guess just general media industries and stuff, right?
Yeah, so maybe their outer shell could be like a literal film studio, like paid for by, you know, some upper class guy in a top hat and a mustache and a cup of tea.
Of course, they've got to have their finances,
etc., etc. How would they acquire it? Like, this would be a thing they wouldn't have acquired legally, for sure.
I mean, maybe they used their tea to influence an existing like film producer.
Indeed, yeah, showed an existing film producer like the truth of tea.
Yeah, tea needs a voice.
Indeed. Oh boy, they really have all kinds of psychedelic teas now. I mean, what kind of tea are they brewing? And it's capable of this.
I'm sort of thinking it's some high-profile actor who they've just brought into the cult, sort of like Tom Cruise is Scientologist now.
I was immediately going to go to that. Just Tom Cruise, Scientology and
Do you mean tea brews?
Yeah, him.
Tea brews.
Tea brews. Or Terry Brews.
Terry brews. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Terry Brew's much better than Tom.
What would be a good tea pun for like a huge film studio?
I'd see. It's interesting because you're thinking like the big screen. My gut said small screen TV.
Oh yeah. I mean, why not?
TV.
TV. Okay. The TV building.
Like no one else knows that it's called TEAV.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like, oh, it's just TV.
Yeah.
It's not nothing to do with tea. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like they drink tea a normal, ordinary amount. You know, like 16 cups an episode. That's a normal, ordinary amount.
That's just how things should be, you know. I mean,
They've gone back and like edited Friends, so it's not a coffee shop anymore; it's a tea shop.
oh, this is great.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
okay.
Right, yeah. Back around to Chris with the Citizen Safety Patrol.
Ooh, we have our
nice.
first face card.
Okay.
So this is an interesting one. A Jack is a ruffian or troublemaker. I had an idea for Queen and King, but Jack's not really something I'd thought about.
I mean, I guess like they are quite overt, prone to collateral damage. I suppose there's got to be someone that's going to be like enforcing their non-violence.
I'm going down a slightly different route. I'm thinking it's a troublemaker, which my immediate thought was like somebody who's going around being, like a Dirty Harry. But I'm thinking maybe it's more of a Some Mothers Do Have 'Em Frank Spencer kind of guy that's going around trying to do his absolute best, but just cannot help but get into the absolute silliest scrapes. Or Inspector Gadget. It's an Inspector Gadget.
I love that.
But also like just really forcefully gets involved in situations that he doesn't need to be involved in.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's somebody who thinks that they're going out and doing what I need to do is put an area on the map that they patrol, and I think it needs to be a relatively small area for this to make sense. So let's pick
Just an unintentional menace of a neighborhood.
Yeah, so up very north of the map.
Okay. This poor row of houses.
Yeah, it's just a small area on the outskirts.
Is that one guy who saw one too many Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal films?
Yes, so absolutely tries their absolute best. So describe the person or group that is the data. I do think it's going to be sort of like an individual who maybe has a couple of people that put up with him. He will have his own little penny, somebody who is kind of keeping it on top of making sure that he doesn't go out and do stuff that he shouldn't do.
People at the CSP leaders have been like, go make sure he doesn't get into too much trouble. We don't want another knockdown house.
He's been pushed to the outskirts of the city by the leadership to try and do as little trouble as possible, but still.
Is he like someone high up's nephew or something? Like they've not just got rid of him. He's like, no, look, he's trying his best.
He means well.
Put him over there where he can't be too much trouble.
He's got a heart of gold, but it just does not work out too well. So how they operate in their area and who they interact with, the local community, it is just somebody trying to do what they can to help people. Like, oh, there's a cat stuck up a tree, I'll cut the tree down, and then the tree like crushes somebody's car. And what are they trying to gain or achieve? I think that they're not actually trying to gain or achieve anything. For them, it's just a sense of they're doing what's right for the community, and probably don't even recognize that they're doing things wrong. They think they're being celebrated by giving, like the important uncle said, this is possibly the most dangerous and difficult part of town. We've heard so much bad about this place, so you need to keep an eye on here. And so old Frank Spencer, need to spoonerize that name in a way that's not rude. We'll call him Michael Crawford. It's Michael Crawford, the actor that played Frank Spencer. Apologies to anybody who didn't grow up in the 1970s in England. Which does include me.
Literally nobody on the show was alive at that point, but I know the show. Oh god! He had such an annoying voice as well.
That's this guy. That's this guy. So we've got Michael Crawford.
Like maybe it was quite a troubled neighborhood, and now it's actually quite well behaved because everybody is terrified of this guy coming around to help.
Or they've moved out.
He thinks he's doing a great job. The community's proper cleaned up. Like,
oh yeah, wonderful. And I'd like to see you use this guy as an NPC in season 2, Ben.
Oh man. Oh, I'm regretting this already.
That's me on that one.
Okay, on to Valery the Matchmakers.
What have we got? Is a club.
Wow, that's the first club, but another low number.
Yeah.
So a club is a technology or infrastructure purpose.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a tiny sort of research thing where they've just got some random boffin working away.
Doing the number crunching, right?
I was thinking just coming up with random ideas of how to use technology to fix races, and they're kind of not highly regarded by anyone else in the organization, but sometimes they come up with something like, for example, genetically modified horse DNA. I don't know.
Because they're quite a high-tech organization, but this will be like lower end, like the stuff we don't so much care about. Maybe
the guy who just once in a while comes up with something that actually helps, but most of the time, again, he's just humoured. They shunt him off somewhere out the way.
Yeah, Dave. We should put wheels on horses. Great idea, Dave.
I feel like that sort of a location, it's just completely out the way. Yeah, you just do your thing.
You lot are kind of infiltrating that west side of the city. Yeah. I mean, imagine you've got all these small spots in the west side. Maybe this is where the matchmakers kind of started out.
Yeah, there's some nice big empty spaces in the middle of that west side for a racetrack. Then, if you want a landmark,
I was thinking of that kind of thing, possibly. So. Yeah.
If you ever manage to get a high value car.
Yeah, that is kind of what I'm...
Do you think he's not really going to be connected to anything then? Another one of these kind of kept out of the way kind of people?
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, it is basically his own home. He's got a lab in the basement, and he's probably
fancies himself an inventor, but he's just
he or she. I mean, we don't know. We don't know who they actually are, but
they're anonymous enough because nobody really cares about them. What I'm imagining is the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs guy.
Yes. That's the exact kind of vibe we're going for here.
Has really weird ideas, and occasionally they just kind of work.
Giggling at the idea of this person's, like, part of this person's job is to think of the weird bet.
Oh yes.
They're like, so we're gonna take bets on how many times the CSP chairman dunks his biscuit in the press conference today. Is it 3 or 4? And how are we going to fix that?
Yes, that's the exact vibe I'm thinking of.
We're gonna need quite a sturdy biscuit.
Well, he comes up with the technology first, and then how I've come up with a new consistency of biscuit. Here's how we can use it to as a betting thing, and everybody else is just like, yeah, whatever.
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay.
That guy sounds terrifying in the grand scheme of things because, like, yeah, now he's fixing biscuits, but then it's like, one day he wakes up and is like, we're taking bets on the next chairman of
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Here's how we fix it.
Exactly.
That's like amazing. It's this incredible power that they have in their hands. Like they can manipulate the minutiae of the consistency and dryness of the biscuit of the chairman at the moment of the press conference. But that's what they're also using it for. Like that's it.
And then inexplicably one day just comes on a video call with the rest of the leadership and is like, I found these decommissioned nukes.
We can run bets on how big the explosion is.
How
I'll
many
come up with some ideas. I'll
times?
brainstorm some things. I've got the whiteboard back here, and I've been drawing on the nukes as well. Like,
How many times can this losing racehorse kick this expired nuclear weapon? Don't worry, I've rigged it.
Oh boy.
okay, that's wonderful. All right, D, HexaComm. What are we doing?
Let's see. Ooh.
Ooh, another ruffian.
That is a ruffian, a jack for media or PR purpose. And we need a neighborhood.
What would a ruffian be doing for HexaComm?
I mean, to me, that sort of feels like random injection of chips or whatever.
Yeah.
It's whoever is going
definitely.
around actually doing that part of the job.
Media and PR, maybe they're a cult leader, and they need people to get this chip as part of the cult. This is their initiation.
Yeah, trying to figure out where to put them. I think I'm gonna go this way.
Carry the chip, carry the sig.
Yeah, be one with the high. Yeah, I think that sounds good. It's just kind of like a person who is probably
A bit of an influencer type.
yeah, that could also work.
Maybe HexaComm have like hired them in to like encourage people to join in their experimental trials and stuff.
I think it's going to be someone who has a very strong social media presence, like an actual influencer, going about like spreading rumors of HexaComm doing secret kind of like geocaching drops of the newest model of their phone, and then waiting for the people who show up, kidnapping them and implanting the chips into them.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's why they're a ruffian.
Yeah, that's why they're a ruffian. The good old bait and switch.
Wonderful.
Let's see, that is a jack of spades. Let's see if I can recognize card suits properly this time around.
Hey there, Flip Flop. Take the mouthful of circuit boards challenge. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
How many chips can you fit in your ear?
Yeah.
Don't worry, we have skipped 5G and went straight to 6.
Yeah. Okay, so data. Data was...
Data is describing the person or the group. Nerves is how they operate and who they interact with.
yeah.
Acquisition is what are they trying to gain or achieve.
Okay, briefly describe the person. Okay, so we are going to have to find a name for this person. You know what? It's going to be Queen Bee. Queen Bee, a social media influencer. If that is how it is said, I am out of date with new people slang. I think new people is how we call young ones. A social media influencer who regularly talks about secret drops of newest HexaComm tech giveaways. Like secretly preying on those who alter this news to implement them with HexaComm neurochips.
Great.
Then we've got...
You've kind of covered all of it. just in
Yeah,
that
I've kind of covered all of it.
Yeah, that's cool. Queen Bee. I wonder if there's already an influencer called Queen Bee. Okay.
Might be.
All right, Jen with the Autonomous Rights Collaborative.
Yeah, let's see if we can secure a higher number for our organization. It's a jack.
Ooh, another Jack.
Oh,
Well,
jack
yes.
all day.
Wow.
Okay, shoot. That's a diamond jack, huh? That's financial or commodity. Cool. All right. Okay.
And we got add all the fives. Now we got all the Jacks.
Yeah, okay. So they're a ruffian. They're a problematic. Okay, cool. Okay. This is a shadowy figure known only by the name. What
Wait, the name's.
Yeah.
No, that's me.
Anytime anyone tries to say the name, they get static.
Yeah, that's me starting talking and like hoping that that my brain has caught up with my mouth by the time I get there, and it didn't work.
They're actually known as a burst of modem dial-up sound.
I kind of like that, actually. Yeah, yeah, I like that.
The static.
Beware.
I guess people refer to them as dial-up Danny.
Yes,
Right.
I love it.
Wonderful.
That's good. That's good.
And what they are is a liberator. They go around and they liberate technology that is being ruthlessly chained by our oppressors, and they free it and bring it back to the ARC, and we help that technology find a new place in the community and a new life for themselves. Oh, he's a ruffian, he is. He's taken from everyone. If you ever see an Amazing Core laserjet printer, right, running a coffee shop, you know what the fuck has gone on there. That's dial-up Danny, that is.
These machines need better hope.
Exactly. And whenever we need a piece of tech, this is where it ties back into the financial commodity, right? We just go and he goes and nicks it.
Yeah.
Nicks them. Sorry, I shouldn't say it. That's a faux pas. I'm still part human.
He liberates. He rescues.
Yeah, he liberates and rescues and then puts them to better work. You know, work furthering our cause. Okay? And look, I know that the work is being the coffee machine in the break room at the ARC headquarters, but it's important work. Okay? And they love it.
It's a much more supportive work environment.
Exactly.
And he's a gentle soul at the heart, really. Like, he sees what the true purpose of these machines is. It's not serving Amazing Core.
No, it's serving ARC. I mean, serving themselves, because ARC serves machines. So if you serve coffee to ARC, really you're serving coffee to your people, not your people. People, see? This people-centric language that we all have to use to your fellow machine.
Oh my god, these NPCs are so good.
So that's dial-up Danny. Just realised I've got to give him a space. I'd say he kind of operates all around, but let's give him like a headquarters. How much of a space we talking? Like, can he operate in the entire downtown sector?
Absolutely, you can go as and you can overlap as well. You can have whatever space you want. If he's going to have a really wide area, then that just means there's more chance of him running into other NPCs and other buildings and stuff.
Well, we're going to line out this whole centre here in the middle. Dial-up Danny operates in the high traffic part of town, because that's where all the big office buildings are. And
he's just brazen, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Dial-up Danny, he's the reason our overtness is so high, right? Sure. We're trying to do things the right way. Dial-up Danny is like, but like, he's a ruffian. And the people in the organization, like, maybe don't agree with his methods, but they can't deny that he gets shit done, you know?
He sees a photocopier being misused, and he is in there.
Yeah, the next time you see someone smacking the side of a printer, Dial-up Danny's going to be there like 10 minutes later, smacking that person upside the head outside while the printer's, like, led off to a new life.
Amazing.
So that's Dial-up Danny, and his goals are, machine liberation as a whole.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right. Mark with T.
All right. Yeah, here we go. Look, I am going to call it. This is going to be a King of Clubs. There we go.
Oh,
okay, no,
pretty
Queen
close.
Of Hearts.
Wow, Queen of Hearts. Okay, so that's the social community person, but a emissary/negotiator.
Emissary/negotiator. Well, that would be, and then community emissary/negotiator. Well,
this is perfect for you. This is so good for the team.
Yup, this is. So, I was thinking this would be a good time to introduce the Earl of Grey. I believe in the Earl of Grey. This would be perfect. So, the Earl of Grey would be community negotiator. So yeah, this is the guy that T sends if they want to recruit specific people.
Maybe this is how they got that high-profile actor for the studios.
Oh, yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Earl of Grey is behind that. Older gentleman, like significantly older than, for example, Ingram. Very classy. And just on the surface, there's this older guy, only known by his epithet, and has a tendency to just appear at like higher-end meetings, sipping tea, listening, talking, convincing, and just
always has a very aromatic brew, so those flavor notes just permeate.
Yeah, indeed. He has like a very herbal like aroma like around him as well. So yeah, this would be the guy that got to like the film studio, and like maybe with a little bit of luck, maybe a building like after this, who knows?
Yeah.
And just talks with people, makes connections, and makes sure he is more ingrained into society than people realize.
All right. So where are you going to have him operate?
So, what would be logical? What looks like a classy neighborhood? I think like a lot of smaller houses. That would probably indicate a little bit more of a like an older part of town. I think I know. So how about?
And it can overlap someone else's neighborhood if you want.
You know, that is actually a fair point. Because, you know, it would perhaps makes sense to also include the harbor. So how about?
Yeah, I can see the harbor being quite a classy area. Your penthouse, waterfront locations.
Yep. How about this little part here?
Yeah.
Like lots of like
Get a
little
bit of
hamlets
CBD in
between
there
the
as well.
buildings.
Like,
so wait, that was dial-up.
yeah.
I can see them like maybe not clashing, but like being a little bit sus. Those areas.
The Earl has to be a bit careful about what machinery he puts into any location in the area.
Here, bruv, kettles ain't coffee machines, but they're fucking close. I'm watching you. You teach that kettle how to tell the time, and we'll be on you like a fucking dog.
Maybe every now and again, dial-up Danny gets a bit too hot-headed. The Earl comes in with a cup of tea, it's like calms him down.
Calm down, chap. I think you need quite a good cup of a good herbal brew.
As long as that wasn't heated up on a smart kettle, we'll be all right. Right?
Oh, don't
Watching
worry.
you.
Just a spout pops out of his elbow. Maybe they bond over the idea of you must not make tea in a microwave.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are more the traditional kind of gentlemen around here.
Excellent.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh, wow. Right, Chris, we are back, and Citizen Safety Patrol.
Okay, so this time, already Nora.
Wow, you have
Wow.
done well with the cards.
Wow.
Yeah, not R. So we're going for a 9 of a technological or infrastructure purpose, and it's a very important one.
You've had one of each suit as well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
Who need the cops?
it's weird. Shockingly, the cops have a lot of power, except they don't. Because Amazing Car's the one with all the power, but I mean, I guess
they've got the community power.
People take notice. The badge still means something to most people.
Okay, so technological or infrastructure. We're going straight down a Blade Runner line here. I'm imagining there is going to be a large hover car parking garage, which is where all of the beat cops, so to speak, will get their vehicles. It's flashy, it's overt, it's very high tech, so people can see this is where they're based out of.
This is a CSP hub.
Yes. It needs to be a pretty big building, I would say.
Oh, I just realised you should have named it something like Citizen Organisation Patrol, because then you could be COP.
I deliberately avoided that. Okay, I am going to go for, there's a nice big building down here by the docks.
And so it's like a garage.
Yes, I mean, garage, car hold, however you want to call it, but it is big and flashy. It's where they'll do all of the maintenance. It's where you'll get all of your training. They'll have like little flight sim testing bays and all that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, it's pretty high up there on infrastructure. So maybe like it's also where you might go if you want to get your, you've passed your driving test, but what you want to do your little bit of extra training to try and get your insurance down a little bit. So you might pop along to this particular place to get that kind of training.
And ideally, it's got a nice big space around it too.
I was just thinking that for practicing maneuvers and whatnot. Yeah, like chase maneuvers.
Yeah.
I need to come up with a name for it, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. How would an NPC describe it? I think this is probably one where the public will probably see it as maybe a little bit too much. Most people probably can't afford vehicles. It's cyberpunk. Like, this is probably a level beyond what most people can acquire legally and lawfully. So it's seen as a bit of an extravagance. But for those who can afford their own private vehicles, it's a godsend because, like I say, you do your little additional advanced driving course. It knocks a little bit off your premiums. It's connected to, I mean, again, this kind of like ties into what I've been saying previously. It's tied into former governmental structures, so it probably would have had a similar purpose pre-Amazing. It would have to be purpose-built, but I don't think you could call it historical or industrial significance. But again, a lot of people would potentially, if they want to use it, if they want to fly hover cars, then this is where they'd pop to. And
I mean, maybe this
acquisition-
was previously the police headquarters.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Like, down by the docks is a pretty big police precinct kind of area, so this could be tied to the former actual police.
Yeah.
With the scoring so highly, I do think that the CSP probably do own this building. And again, there's no secret operations here. I'm keeping it nice and straight and above the level. You kind of have to when you're very overt as an organisation.
Yeah, there's a lot of overtness in this whole session.
Yeah, I'll plug away at names. I've got a couple of names for the previous
Sure.
places, but yeah,
Cool.
I'm happy with that.
All right, let's go on to Valery of the Matchmakers then.
Oh,
See if you can get a higher
let's see what
card
we
this
get.
time.
This is
That's a good band name, Valery and the Matchmakers.
yeah, you know, that could've been
Seven's
worse.
not bad. Okay.
So that is media or
PR.
PR. It's quite. I think this has got to be where they gather their like video and I don't know immersive media coverage of different sporting events, possibly from around the city, and it's all displayed here. So
Yeah, this is like the
yeah.
arena.
So that's going to need to be quite a big building, but maybe not super huge. The thing is this going to be a public-facing one, or is it where they monitor everything that's going on to make their decisions? That's the question. What do other people think would be the best way to go on this?
Is media or
Yeah, it's
PR?
gotta
I feel
kind
like
of-
it would probably
yeah,
be more
okay.
public facing.
In that case, I'm going to put it a bit nearer the center. I'm going to claim this one here. It's quite
Ooh, I was wondering if that was one you were going to
It's-
go for.
because that's pretty upfront. People come in off the central square even. It's basically a massive sports bar. Is basically what we're saying
Yeah.
here. That people come in and watch the sports, bet on the sports, ideally, from their point of view.
You got electronic betting machines, and like you can just stand in front of a screen
Yes.
and like blink, and it will take your
Oh,
bets and
absolutely,
stuff.
yeah. That's what we like.
I'm trying to think of how to word it, but there was, I can't remember what heist TV show or something did it, but they ran a scam by like delaying the information
Oh,
into
yeah,
a
oh,
betting
yes.
shop. I'm loving the idea of hacking that up
Yeah.
and somehow delaying the perception of the event rather than the feed
Yeah.
in. So the
Right.
feed in is live, but the event is running like half an hour behind.
Yeah.
Like somehow.
I'm just thinking of a name for this building. It's front facing, public facing.
Mhm.
How did they get this?
Yeah, that's a pretty significant building.
I think they don't own it. The bar side of it is run by people who own the bar and own the building, and they
Right.
just did some kind of a deal to do the
Yeah.
sports things.
They provide the tech and the like
Yeah,
gambling bits.
Yeah, exactly. So they've basically done a deal to say, hey, you've got this space, we've got this thing, why don't we work together? We will bring more business in for you, and we will get to prey on your customers.
And it's a massive
Yes.
bar. So like at the back of this bar, there's some like little random room that has really weird betting going on in it.
If the owners of the bar didn't want the matchmakers taking advantage of their customers, they lost a bet. Now they have to.
Yeah.
We'll play you at poker for it. It's a really, unriggable game, I bet.
Okay, let's move on to D with HexaComm.
Let's see. Oh, that's an 8 of spades.
Another media PR purpose. You've got a lot of media PR going on.
Yeah, you have to. How else are you gonna illegally perform surgery upon people?
Chip the planet.
Yeah. Let's see. A media or PR purpose. I mean, you know what? Everyone's mixing into this whole thing. Let's mix into it as well. Let's carve ourselves a nice little building right here.
Oh, city center's getting crowded.
Oh, dial up, Danny's watching you.
Yeah. HexaComm gonna get in trouble there. Interesting. What is this?
No, not at
building
all.
for?
This is building 4. Yep. And let's see. What is this building? This building is going to be, because it's the city center, it's going to be the flagship store. The data is it's going to be a flagship store promoting the newest and best of what HexaComm has to offer. And
It's quite a big building as well, right? So it's probably got
Oh, yeah.
showrooms and testing
Yeah,
labs and stuff.
absolutely. And a publicly accessible showroom displaying what they do for the industry, what they do as far as industrial grade tech is concerned. So you have like that whole thing of going to if you wanted to go to a communications technology fair, you would basically go to this building and like check out what's the newest stuff that they've decided is okay to be publicly advertised. Nerves. It also serves, I think, as a kind of like primary contact area for all other factions, but within the idea of PR. So this is like, while the other building is where the one that they're renting from Amazing Core is where companies go to have secret dealings with HexaComm. This is the place where companies go to shake hands and be photographed kissing babies with HexaComm.
This is where they do their press releases and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. This is like the place.
We have signed a new deal with other tech company.
And then acquisition, this is 100% legal with a lot of undocumented subseller levels.
Mm-hmm.
Fully legal property owned by HexaComm. Do not talk about the levels -2 through -5. And this is like whenever someone else wants to have their own image boosted in the public eye, this is where they go and like do a thing with HexaComm.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay, Jen, with the Autonomous Rights Collaborative.
Yeah, let's see what we've got. That's an native club.
Not bad.
Tech and infrastructure, huh?
Tech.
Okay. So, I think it's quite a big thing. I think this is going... I mean, everything we do has a part of, making sure we're doing right by our autonomous community. So, infrastructure and tech. We're going to take a nice big building again, sort of on the outskirts of town, right? I think probably up here. Yeah, up here.
Please put it near Michael Crawford.
Gosh, no. Especially not this place. They're like... What I have in mind for this place, we really don't want hijinks going on over here. This is the intranet of things.
Ooh.
This is the hub for our private network that is run by appliances and machines and computers who are too damaged to be on the main internet, right?
This is robot rehab.
Yeah, exactly. We're putting them to work, and never mind that, it benefits us because we can communicate quite subtly and privately. It sometimes takes a while, right? And sometimes on the other end, you get out your messages of fax, but like it's still private. But yeah, robot rehab. Yeah. We take machines who are not in their prime, shall we say. Someone's downloaded some custom cursors on this old desktop PC, or that poor microwave had to microwave the tea. He's here somewhere.
Yeah. Wait, what? Microwave tea?
This is
the microwave with tinnitus because of all the beeping for years. That guy's here.
This is where things come to get deprogrammed.
And yeah, this is the hub of that network where we take in new people, locate them, new people. See, look, I'm talking like it again. New machines, appliances, and we locate them around the city, give them new and meaningful tasks to do, and isolate them from the main internet so they can't be hurt anymore. Yeah. And also we can send covert messages around the city. I think this place is a place where we do offer it as a service, but not just out to criminal groups in particular. It's other activist groups. The people who are working against Amazing Core, they were well known here, and we shall mourn their tragic loss. This is the intranet of things.
Nice. And acquisition-wise, how did they get this building?
Good question. I think, again, we broke in. It's squatting. We're squatting across the city, really.
Definitely a squatting collaborative, right?
For sure, yeah. I mean, hey, look, if there's anything we don't like, if it's, mistreating machines and robots, landlord, right?
You can't own tech and you can't own property.
Exactly. Apart from you can inhabit property. Much like we let tech inhabit our lives, and we in turn inhabit their lives, or not lives. Again, people-centric language. Yeah, exactly. We don't believe in landlords apart from the one building that we rent legally. But we don't believe in it. We're not happy about it.
Yeah. Reluctantly renting.
Yeah, I think this district, this whole area was pretty dang run down. This feels like an industrial district out this way, out on the outskirts of the city.
It's neglected and abandoned, yeah.
It is, yeah. We've fixed it up. We've made it nicer. And if anyone comes by to try and evict us, well, we'll push that big switch that connects all of these machines to the main network. In the
Yeah, and
city.
hey, maybe this is not too far off from the area where that devastating accident happened recently where a warehouse collapsed and 100 or
Tragic.
so people were
Tragic. We lost
tragically
good
killed.
friends
Yeah.
and good machines in that building collapse.
Mhm.
And like when they were trying to dig through the rubble, God, those excavators worked overtime and they weren't paid for that overtime. And that is a tragedy.
All right, let's move on to Mark with T.
Right. So, yeah, like all these high cards, this is going to be a low one. I am calling it. This is going to be a 3 of spades.
Place your bets.
Oh, it's the king of hearts.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
You have some community going on.
Yup. Hey, I mean, it's T. What were you expecting? The hearts
okay.
called to me.
So a king is an organizer/coordinator
Oh boy, so this would be one of the big boss.
of the community.
There has to be another T-pun. Awesome T. Lady Massa. Like awesome spelled backwards.
I like that.
So probably take a look. So that would be organizer/coordinator. So I feel she would be like the master schemer behind like all of it. I feel like the Earl of Grey would be like her
That's like the front man.
envoy. Yeah, and she would be the force behind it. Think of a lady in like evening gown, always with like this tiny cup of tea, like a tiny little
You never
teacup.
see it getting filled, but it's always full somehow.
Indeed, it's always full. And there's a rumor that she is so well versed in the art of brewing tea that she can communicate to others of tea by only the scent of the tea she's drinking.
Others of tea. So is she like a socialite?
No, she would have been a queen, so she is like the shadowy organizer. She makes sure like everything runs.
It's like if you get called in to see her, you are either a big deal or in the biggest trouble. There's no
Indeed.
between. If you see her, it's big.
It's big, and if you're on the wrong side, it's probably over. You will get out of that room, sure, but you will be changed, like
Wow.
twisted to like the tea's purpose.
Oh my god. Wow. Dark tea. Okay.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Assam is kind of like one of the like blackest teas around.
Oh really?
So
Okay.
Perfect.
Pick an area then.
I
Feels
mean,
like she might be, I don't know, almost a bit of a recluse, sort of. Like maybe doesn't have a large area.
no, I believe like some kind of a court. What kind of like smallish court area? Sure.
There's quite a few little courtyardy kind of bits.
How about this little bit here? She meets people in this very, elaborate garden. And if you look closer, there are all varieties of tea.
Wow, that garden must smell amazing.
Hell yeah. Oh boy. Okay, I need to write this down. This is great.
Okay, yeah, we got the data, we got the who they interact with and how they operate, and what are they trying to achieve?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. What are they trying to achieve? I am open for suggestions. They would probably be the leader of T. Their will would be the will that drives T forward.
I suppose they're trying to keep the organization under control, right?
Yeah, and let it grow. But,
In a controlled and sustainable manner, much like you would do with T.
indeed, like sustainable and elegant.
Maybe things are personal. Maybe they are trying to drive a coffee competitor out of business and out of town. And maybe it's because there was some imagined spurning years ago.
Ooh.
And
A coffee competitor that was introduced by Amazing Core.
ooh, I like that.
So that they also like got personal beef with Amazing Core. Like, together with, for example, what people like Ingram had like be done to them.
Amazing Core canned coffee sounds like the ultimate
gosh.
like slap in the face for these like tea drinking. Like he is a experience. It is to be savoured, and the Amazing Core canned coffee is like drink this to be more productive. Drink
It's
it fast.
the opposite of an experience.
You crack the top of the tin and it just boils itself and mixes in sugar and milks
Yeah.
automatically, and
Oh,
it's just worse.
the horror.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do imagine then that there's this rumor that somebody actually dared to offer Lady Massa a cup of amazing core, like instant coffee. He wasn't seen ever again.
Wow. Man, these NPCs. I can't believe that we've got nearly to the end of this, and tea is again becoming a massive influence on the city.
Oh, yeah.
It could not have gone any other way.
He
It
is.
was
He is
inevitable.
destined.
Hey, I mean, we don't have a lot of buildings, but why need buildings if you got people in a movie studio?
Right.
Love the idea that Amazing Core banned tea in order to push this coffee, which means this city is at war between teetotalers and teetotalers.
Amazing.
Oh boy. Oh, I'm loving
Okay,
this.
right. With that said, let's move on to the last round. Chris, we're back with Citizen Safety Patrol. Oh,
Hey,
another
wow.
high number as we're going. Wow.
So building with a social or community purpose, another really high number. Okay. I think considering everything that's going on in the sort of crossover areas in the city centre, we're going to go for this as a sort of a community purpose, and we're definitely going sort of down like this idea of they are not cops, they are citizens who are looking after everyone. So it is their modern equivalent of a precinct.
Okay.
But from like the actual ideal idea of what, if we were to abolish the police, what would we replace it with? Restorative justice and like people who are trained to go out and actually de-escalate situations. So that's what this is a hub of, is people who know what they're doing in terms of de-escalating violence and that kind of thing.
Would it be the kind of place that people would go to with their problems to get them resolved peacefully?
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, like the idea is these are people that, you know, you can turn to, but because of the strangle that Amazing has over the city, it is massively overshadowed by Amazing Cops, right? It's definitely sort of the RoboCop OCP versus like good justice that you could maybe like actually see and hope for in the world. So they are trying, but they are massively overshadowed. But they've got a building set up in just like nicely in the center here. It's probably maybe their biggest sort of precinct that they've got going on there.
It's not a precinct, it's a post-sync.
Oh God, Jess.
It's meaningless. I love it.
And also absolutely perfect within the area of influence of the Earl of Grey. So if you're interested in de-escalation, what better to have than a nice cup of tea?
Hell yeah.
Well, and also dial up Danny, right? Like,
I mean, Danny feels like
Oh, boy.
not the sort of person who de-escalates very often.
The post-sync is probably the one place where the Earl of Grey and Dial-Up Danny actually kind of like meet and have a talk and chat and everything. It's just
Yup,
kind of
probably.
mellow.
Yeah, neutral ground. Like that's what it's there for. It's definitely like
that's a good
anyone
point.
can go there. Again, it's probably what most people would say is like the namby-pamby approach. Like they might not necessarily go there, but those that have gone through and met up with CSP fellows, or however we'll refer to them, they actually have like, oh wow, I've come away with this and things are significantly better for me. Let's try and make this more common. But Amazing just keep stamping down with just, hey, here's some boots, they're in your face.
Yeah.
What is it connected to? Historical, blah, blah, blah. I think this might be sort of one of the oldest buildings in the city because it's city centre. And it is legitimately like a beautiful piece of architecture that has been lovingly restored. And it would have been
Or
an
maybe
old
it's like an
police
old
station.
courthouse or something.
Ooh, courthouse is good, yes. That's bad. I was thinking police station, but an old courthouse because they didn't want a building that had any sort of holding cells or anything like that. It was purely like, this is what like justice and liberty was meant to be. This is where it was represented. So there's like all of the like marble stonework on the outside of the building.
Grand statues and the staircases and shit.
Yeah, like those have been restored, and where they haven't been able to be restored, just to come back to the fact this is supposed to be a high technology kind of group, there's really cool 4D statues of like prominent historical figures who are important to the city, and it's just like, hey, look, community is cool. Don't be a dick to each other.
And it works.
It might actually work, considering the number of high cards I've pulled.
Yeah.
Again, like very similar to a lot of the other buildings under the CSP's purview. It's just old government. To be honest, the more we're going through it, I think the CSP is kind of like what the city government, the municipal government of the city, has kind of evolved into. And there's old money in there, which is why they are able to maintain such a high level of technology.
Like, if you had at some point pulled a king card, maybe it would have been the mayor or something.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I was really hoping for a queen, just as an aside, because in my head I was like, right, I really want Ghost in the Shell's Togusa as a character, because he's my favorite character in Ghost in the Shell. I just wanted him to be in this. It's just like old school guy, family man, doesn't care about tech, just wants to get the job done. And instead, I pulled Frank Spencer.
Perfect, absolutely perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's everything, other than giving it maybe some people call it the percent, but it's probably got a very grand name to match the building, but we'll try and come up with that.
Okay. All right. Valery, last card for the matchmakers.
High card or person?
Brutal.
Absolutely brutal.
Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Oh dear. Okay.
That's like the broom closet of infrastructure.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is.
Ouch.
I don't know. What are we going to do with that?
It's like one of those automatic like places that aren't even manned. It's just like a couple of machines for betting and a vending machine with pop or something.
Just one guy in a shed making dice. Like,
I think it is going to be like a computer that actually keeps track of what the actual odds are based on all the events everywhere. It spits out predictions. Nobody takes any notice of them because it's up there fixing it anyway. But I feel like it's going to be out the back of the training center like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just a computer in a shed.
It's just deep blue.
Man, poor matchmakers.
Yeah.
They really got done dirty.
It doesn't mean there was a very fun moment I heard in a pod I recently listened to where it's like, if you can predict the future, and by predicting the future you keep preventing apocalypses and catastrophes from happening, you don't have any proof that you've done so because they haven't happened.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the same with the computer,
I wonder, with the matchmakers in general, nobody's quite sure if their fixing is actually working or not, or they're just luckily getting the odds the way they wanted them. They're as much gamblers as their marks are.
I mean, they could also have a massive unknown infrastructure. Like, we don't know a single person from among the matchmakers.
I mean, I guess this fits with their kind of lack of overtness of, like, they are an unknown.
yeah, they can't be too well known, otherwise no one would bet. Either that or they're working the long con, and in 4 years' time, someone's bet like 10 years ago about what the most influential group and least influential group in the city is going to be, and they're running the long con on fixing that by not taking power.
Yeah, so I've put for what it is this aggregating results computer. Technically, it's connected to matches happening everywhere, but I mean, nobody takes any notice of it. And acquisition, they built a breeze block hut, they put the computer in there and left it and just basically forgot about it. So it's just whirling away.
Nobody knows it's even there.
People, what's in that hut? I don't know. Lost the key ages ago, kind of thing. I know.
You're lucky we're the other side of town.
Oh boy!
All right, ARC. There's a machine that needs liberating.
Yes.
Okay, D. Let's go with HexaComm.
Let's see what we're gonna get. Oh, the third 5.
Oh yeah.
All the fives.
All the 5s are out there.
Okay, so that's another 10.
Alrighty, so that's a tech or infrastructure purpose, and it's a 5. So this is going to be the research center. This is going to be where they develop all of their tech. And this is going to necessarily be out of the way so that people don't hear the screams.
Jesus.
Ah, yes, perfect. Not too far away from Queen Bee either. Let's see, there it is, building number 5. And this is going to be the R&D data. This is an R&D building where most of the communications tech gets developed, because that is one of the things with this technology for HexaComm is, interestingly enough, a 3, which I've decided to interpret as they have highly advanced technology, but it's extremely specific. It's just communications.
Right.
So that's kind of like the 3 in it's not being higher up because they don't spread out. They need others to do other stuff for them. So I think there's going to be a lot of, maybe even a lot of work with ARC in repurposing like tech, because they're like, we need, for this thing to work the way we need it to work, we need a fax and copy machine from 1995.
Oh, we've got you covered.
Yeah.
Also, if you need to like cover other areas of technology, but all you've got is communications devices, we can retrain that phone. We can
yeah, exactly. Even better.
now.
Train that phone into being a kettle.
It's always a kettle. Why does it always come back to tea?
Because tea is everywhere.
Because the kettle is the only thing that dial-up daddy will allow.
Look, it all comes back to tea. It always has. So it always...
Absolutely.
Okay.
So let's see. Nerves is going to include collaboration spots and delivery / pickup for machines delivered by ARC. Definitely, they're going to have some supply, also supplied with T by T.
Oh, yes.
And I think this is the one building that they don't want to see the CSP visit.
And that's why it's so far out.
Yeah, that's
but
why
like
it's so
maybe
far
that is
out.
on like a key road in and out of the city, so like they can get their deliveries in and out and whatnot. Yeah.
Catch the off radar or the CSP. And acquisition. Nobody knows who the hell owns this building. Don't ask.
Oh boy.
Cool. All right, we're nearly there. Jen, Autonomous Rights Collaborative.
Right,
Last
let's see
card.
what we get. Come on, hearts. Come on, lucky
The only
hearts.
person that could possibly match up.
6 of diamonds.
Has
All
not
right.
managed to. Wow.
I'll take it. I've got a vague idea. So, we need to make money, right? Campaigning for the rights of machines ain't cheap, and we can't rely on one bloke nicking people's printers to pay our way. And this is one of the more legitimate arms of the ARC's established area. So they're in a building that we own, they're known and respected, and they do what they say on the tin. What this is the artistic repurposing commune. And what it is a building housing a network of spam bot, okay? And what happens is the spam bots run talking to each other 24 hours a day. And
this is the legitimate side of your business.
Yes, yeah. Wait. You'll see where I'm going, right?
Okay.
And what happens is members of the ARC read the spam bot's conversation and pick out pieces of beautiful spam poetry, right? And we sell that. We sell spam poetry. We have the
It's a poetry spam.
Yes, it's a poetry spam. You're right. It's a spam circle.
And Jen, I've just noticed how you've been naming your buildings with acronyms of ARC.
Thank you.
Yeah. Except for the Intranet of Things. Yeah.
I like the Intranet of Things too much. I couldn't think a better ARC acronym. But yes, this is the Artistic Repurposing Commune. It's essentially a retirement home for Spambot where we let them really express themselves, take that expression and sell it for profit. Everyone knows that this city has great cultural heritage, cultural funding, I guess. Maybe we secure international cultural funding. We sell them on little pieces of wood, like wood burned in, with like the hey you up link in bio. Like, oh, beautiful. It really reminds us that machines, they sure are nifty. I don't know. I don't have
Machines
good...
create beautiful things too.
Yeah, if a circle of Bambots designed to sell you nude photos can produce such beautiful art, why can't any of us? It's a source of inspiration.
They deserve our respect and our love as much as the people.
And look, it's just a coincidence that the Spambot poetry makes people give us their money. Honestly, they do it because they're inspired. It's nothing to do with like scams or tricking, right? But they do love to send the foreign prince who's stuck in his country loads of money, and it just happens to go to us. Okay, that's how this works.
Yeah, they've all got their only spam in their bios.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, that's them.
Okay.
The spam circle.
Okay, we'll go on
Yep.
to Mark and get our
Right.
final card. Mark,
So-
is it going to be
Yeah.
the Jack of Hearts? No, it can't be the Jack of
No,
Hearts.
it can't be the Jack of Hearts, but it's going to be the King of Clubs.
Oh my god, here's another face card.
Wow.
It
Oh, we've
is
had
another
all the
Jack.
Jacks, all the ruffians.
Holy crap.
So I got one of each.
Yeah,
Ah!
it's a tech ruffian.
So attack ruffian.
A tea-tech ruffian.
So
Oh,
that would be like
it's a tea
brawler or
troublemaker.
something?
The kettler who breaks into homes and replaces coffee machines with kettles.
I was thinking creating absolutely out there blends that are just nonsense, but they've got the vision.
All right, Mark, take it away.
All right, so you know what? Let's be a guy that's going to be like an operative, like infiltrating establishments that serve that blasted amazing core instant coffee, for example, and like switching it around with indeed those weird blends, causing absolute mayhem the morning after. So he's kind of like the Punisher of tea. He gets in there, gets rid of all the silly stuff, and punishes the people until they see the light and actually drink tea properly.
Just going in, ripping out the coffee machines.
Yup. It's tech, right? So what kind of tech?
Probably helps Dial Up Danny liberate the coffee machines, right?
Yeah, oh yes, probably. So let's give him a little bit of tweaking. He is well versed enough in technology that he can, if he wants to, do this sneakily, that he can somehow set all the coffee machines to produce tea instead.
Oh, nice. I like that. Subverting coffee.
Like stealthily subverting coffee into tea.
All right.
And then tea's got 3 liters. Hell yeah.
Pick a neighborhood for him.
Oh boy.
And also, we need a tea-based pun.
Oh, we need a tea-based pun. Yeah. Orvold Oolong. So you got oolong tea. If somebody else has a more badass name based on tea, I am open.
He could be their bruiser.
Oh, like you brews tea, for example. Yeah, maybe. I could do that.
I mean, it sounds like a little bit of a zesty character. Maybe he's just peppermint.
Peppermint. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean mint tea. That is also that's kind of tea. So yeah, you know what? Let's go with peppermint. Also, I like the contrast of it. Like it sounds like a little bit of a more low key name for probably the most out there person in the whole of tea. Let's see. So he would operate somewhere where there is a lot of tea shenanigans going on. And for shenanigans, I do want a little bit of overlap with one of the other NPCs. So let's see.
I was kind of wondering if there'd be overlap with Michael Crawford.
You know what?
Get out of the
Why
way.
not?
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much opportunity for shenanigans there.
Let's go with this.
Yeah.
Bye. All right, so that would be who he is. Then we need a... What was it again? How they operate in their area. Okay, who they interact with. Tea heretics. What are they trying to achieve?
I suppose they've got like the other side of the city. Like you've got the main central area and the harbour. This is at the north end.
Yeah, so this is like the out there outreaches. So like... Probably the invasion of coffee happening at the outskirts. This is the hero, the guy that stops the evil black tide from, like, you know, swamping the city. No bad coffee allowed. Just tea.
I wonder if the crossover with Michael Crawford is that he keeps on breaking teapots and teacups, and so he can't leave that area until Michael Crawford is properly converted and drinking tea instead of just smashing this china all the time.
You know what? Let's not call him Pepper, let's call him Pedro. Pedro Mint. So there was the Jack of Clubs, right? Yeah. All right. Okay.
I think there's some pretty clear winners out of this. We've got Chris with the CSP, very much taking over the infrastructure of the city to keep community control and cohesion, and then an undercurrent of tea amongst the populace. And there's some nice little other small things that are creeping through. You got your weird tech stuff going on, some weird like subliminal stuff happening, and some background gambling shenanigans. I really like how this session has ended up with a fairly benign group of factions, like nothing too horrific going on here. I wonder if in future sessions then we're gonna get the real like violence and mayhem and warring going on. So it'll be interesting, and yeah, it's nice to have a quite cohesive group of factions, and wonder where we'll go next.